Hello to everyone and welcome. You have arrived Provision-22's webinar. Now on this webinar we are going to go through some of the features that our new operating system can do, the OSIA. So all you have to do is to sit back, enjoy, and let's just do it. So a quick explanation about our purpose as a company. Now, Provision-22 basically believes in simplicity. So yes, we have a lot of crazy features, a lot of high-end features, but our main purpose is to keep them simple, for setting up. So we want to have an easy access for everyone, whether it is the distributor or the installer or the end user. We want everything to be as simple, as intuitive as possible. So let's just start. As you can see, we have here the main menu. The main menu is built out of very clear buttons and symbols, which we can immediately see what everything is doing. Now, of course, we have the different split screens. We have 1, 4, 9, 16, all of the playbacks. The split screens. Now here we have some more. We have some different layouts, for different purposes. So for the next thing, I want to take you to a small scenario. Let's say that you want to install a camera in a corridor, okay, in a hallway. It happens usually in hotels or hospitals or maybe even offices. So it goes like this. We have two options. Or that we take the camera and install it in the classical way. But in that case, we will capture many of the walls from the left and right of the frame, because that it is a corridor and you have walls. Or that we install the camera with a slight twist of 90 degrees, which will make the camera capture all of the frame that we want, which is basically the corridor. But then we will have this. Take a look. This is what happens. We have black edges to the right and left of the camera. It's the same like when we take a picture with our phone in a vertical way instead of horizontal. Now, of course, we can do an overspreading, but then we get bad proportions. Now, either of that is unneeded by us. We don't want it, right? So, we have solved it just by putting a special layout which contains corridor mode. As you can see, we have the same camera, but with better proportions. Now, how do we access it? From here. We have a way to choose 3 corridor cameras, 2, 1 as we just chose, and 4 different sets of corridor cameras. Okay, moving on to the next thing. The next thing will be the playback. Now, how do we access playback? Basically, we just choose the required 4 cameras that we want, and then we press quick playback. And now we have entered the quick playback menu, and we can go back and forth. We have the schedule and everything. Now don't worry, we're gonna touch it a little bit in a few minutes. We can of course access 9 cameras recordings, and we can of course access 16 cameras recording. I like to show all of the options. Diversity is the name of the game. So next thing, let's talk a little bit about extra abilities that we have on the NVR. So basically, many NVR on the market have the relay out. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. But we don't want always to control those relays only by automatic settings. If there was a camera that there was a motion on this camera, or a sensor or something. Sometimes we want to operate that relay manually. And of course, it's not just relays. By operating a relay, we can open a door, we can activate a siren, we can alert something, many different options. So right here on this button, we can see all of the alerts that are connected to this NVR, whether it is physically on the back of the NVR or if it is a relay which is 200 meters from us in a camera, right? All of those relays that you see here are a part of cameras, an IP camera that have relay out. So we have total control over the most distant locations. that of course are connected, whether they are remotely or locally into the NVR. Now, next thing, let's think for a second. No, this one. Okay, this is the alert. This is the alert window. Now, basically, we can see here alerts in different colors. So we like to address it as like a car's dashboard. Now, if we are in the car and we see this yellow or blue alert, then it's something that is worth noticing, but it's not very important. So if we, for example, see here, we can see that we have a lot of motion. You see it says motion, and it's not really important. Okay, but if we have a red alert, then this is something that we might want to notice, because usually it means that something bad has happened or something that is worth noticing. Something like an HDD got disconnected, or an IPC got disconnected, or MAC conflict, or IP conflict, all sorts of things. So the next thing is the share of information from the NVR to us. Now, many times we want to have some information from the NVR, but we need to go into the settings and to that button and that button and that button. So in Provision ISR, we thought, why not have all of the information in one place in the press of a button? So as you just saw, I pressed the information button, which is represented by a big I. And here we have all kind of things, whether it is the firmware version, because we are right now we are talking to the technical support and they want it from us, or we want to quick connect into the NVR via P2P. So we have the left barcode with the P2P barcode here. We have the ability to download the Android app from the middle barcode or the iPhone app from this. Now, we don't really have the time to pass on all of the different options, so let's have a quick glimpse. Yes, camera status, we can see which one is online and which one is offline, all sort of information. We have the alert status we've just explained. Record status, we can see each camera and what is the bitrate that it is capturing, right? Both for the mainstream and for the substream, like all of the information that we might need. Network status is pretty important. We can see the IP of the NVR, we can see the MAC address, we can see the different ports that are being used, and we can see the bandwidth, which is very important for some people, mainly installers, that want to see how much bandwidth with the NVR is capable of and how much is remaining, both in outgoing and downstream and upstream. Yes, English is not my strongest language. Both NAT status and push server status. Now, this is the disk. Here we will have three main and important information. So number one is we can see the number of disks, of course. We can see the total capacity and how much we have used. We can see that it is decrypted and not encrypted. So basically it means that we can take every disk that is connected to our system and encrypt it. Now, I don't know if you've heard of it, but there is this European Union law. It's called GDPR. Now, GDPR stands for Global Data Protection Regulations. They demand for communication devices to be encrypted. There are many demands, but this is one of them, and of course that we can encrypt the disk. Basically, it means that this disk won't be able to be played through any other system. You take the disk out of this system, it's dead. Now, groups. What are groups good for? Very simple. Let's say we have 2 or 3 or 4 important cameras, and we want them to record for as long as possible. So we will create another group. Okay, let's say group number 2. We will associate the cameras that we want, the important ones, with the desired HDD. Of course, we gotta have more than one HDD in the system to do that. And all of those cameras will record only to that disk, which will give us a lot of time. As we can see here with the record period, we can see that this disk has recorded from the 6th of February until today, which is a long time, not like the other one that records from the 17th until today. Also, we can see the backup status if we have some backup in progress. We can see the online status for remote or local users. Next thing is the different display modes. So yes, we can see here all of the cameras, okay, all of the different cameras. Simple drag, sorry, I dragged it wrong, and we can see the camera that we want to see in the window that we chose. We have the in-channel sequence. Now, a long story short, you choose as many cameras as you want until 16, okay? You give it a name, this sequence, you give it a time limit, not a limit, but a time that when that time passes, the camera will change. And let's have a quick look on something that I already did before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have a camera changes according to the sequence that we want. Next thing is customize display modes. As its name might suggest, we can choose whatever layout that we want and we can save it, we can give it a name, and of course the most important thing is that we can take every one of the layouts and press right click and send it to the other monitor. That will give us a total control of what is shown on each and every one of the monitors connected to my device. Many times you have to go into in different system to the I don't know, the tour, and to set up a tour and then make it run through HDMI 2 or 1 or whatever. So here we did it a lot more simple. Next and final thing for the main interface is this. I'll just choose a camera. Okay, take a look. Every camera that I choose, I have this small menu following it, right? So let's take, for example, this camera and have a quick look. I have a few buttons. I can manually record if something is happening right now. Go into instant playback just for fun. Let's do that. Okay. And I can play audio if the camera contains microphone, snapshot, PTZ, digital zoom, and image adjust. Basically, I can go into all of the settings that this camera has to offer, including WDR, BLC, HLC, all of that. You can just go with by yourself later and see, but the most important thing I wanted to show is this. Usually when a camera changes from day to night, then it changes from color to black and white, right? When that happens, a lot of times the camera will lose focus. Now we won't always notice it because the loss of focus is very slight, but we want to have a perfect image all the time, whether it is day or night, and we want the whole scene to be captured as it's supposed to be. So if you go here and just press this click, you will make the NVR comprehend automatically the loss of focus that occurring in night. So a very simple click right here, you press the save, and that's it. You've solved this problem forever. Now, next thing I want to show you is how to go into playback. Now, of course, we have normal playbacks that exist in many other devices, but let me show you something a little bit special. So I just went into the settings, to the playback, into playback by time. What does that mean? Basically, I can choose cameras, and if I want to see something that happened in either one of these cameras, I can just pick them up as I just saw. I selected the cameras, and then I can see the bar in the upper window, and by pressing every minute of this bar, I can see that the snapshots changes. So it changes into exactly where I've pressed on the bar upstairs. So let's say I want to see exactly what happened here, and let's say that this is the event that I'm searching for. Let's say something got stolen or something. Then immediately I can tell that it has happened on this camera. One click, and then I can see the video plays right here on the back. Of course, you can play with it, with the zoom, back and right, and then you can double click and have a full window. Opportunities are basically endless. Now this is all nice, right? But it's not enough. Let's do something even more special. This is a new way to search for events, and I call it searching for events using the best cameras in the world. Now, What are the best cameras in the world? Let me tell you, it's our eyes. So if you want to search for something, especially for something that has entered or left the scene in some sort of point in the day, then we can use this feature. Let me show you. All I have to do is to choose the required camera. Okay, so this is a camera, the back day. It's a camera that takes all of the parking lots, the parking lot outside our workplace. So it is a very good example. All we have to do is to choose the day. You have here from the 10th until the 21st of the month. So let's choose, for example, the 15th of March. Immediately I can have 60, sorry, not 60, I have 24 images. Each one represents every hour of the day, starting from midnight until 11 o'clock at night. So let's say that I want to know exactly when that car, the white car, has entered right here. So I can see that at 8 o'clock, I hope that you can see it, it was here, but at 7 it wasn't. So a quick double click on 7, I have 60 images of 1 minute each, and immediately with the best cameras in the world, which are our eyes, we can see that at 7:45 it was here, 7:44 it wasn't, a double click, and simultaneously explaining it and showing it in a few seconds, I just saw how the car got captured with almost no effort at all. Now, of course, that from this point on, we can, as you can see, we can pick it and back it up. Endless opportunities and change and things to do, basically. Now, the next thing I want to show you is playback. Now, what we've just saw is how I do search by time slice, right? So now we want to go into the normal playback with some extra few new additions. So let's choose, for example, these 9 cameras, right? Let's choose these 9 cameras. I press the playback as we saw before. I promise you that I will go through it once again, and there we go. So here we can see all of them, each and every one of the cameras. You can see 1 or 2, see on the right, I selected them, or 3. We can see every camera and its records, right? If it is yellow, then it is, of course, it is motion and schedule and everything. So of course that we can, yes, we can narrow down the results. We can see, we can filter out only the events that we want to see, all of the chances. We can also zoom in and out and very easily play with it, and as you can see, the system responds very quickly to every press of a button. The video is very smooth. Now let's say we want to backup, right? Now the number one, but one of the problems in other systems that I have encountered, at least, is the fact that in order to backup you have to work, okay? You have to choose the date and time, and you have to slice it with the scissors and everything. Just look what I'm seeing, what am I doing right here. I'm choosing not one, I can choose all of the cameras that I want, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't care how many, okay? And then, okay, I did it too quickly, and then I can just, yes, now I can just click backup. I can see all of the needed information, from when until when, how long does that recording takes, what is the data it's going to take. I can see the number of cameras, it's going to, what are the cameras that I'm going to take the recording from. And the most important thing, just a quick jump to the back when we talked about GDPR, we can choose private, okay, but we can choose AVI or private protocol. Once we choose private, remember the global data protection regulations? We can give a password to our file, so no one but whoever got the password will be able to open those files. Of course, we can give it no password and you can just open it. So this is a great way to protect our files and to protect our data from hostile people. Now, we've just saw how to back up, we've just saw how to search, okay, but you see right here on the left we have like it's still, you know, it's a lot of information, a lot of information. So let's do something else. Let's choose a camera, okay, this main passage camera. Now it is in full screen. Now I know that it is number 2 because it's right here, it's marked in red where my mouse is. So I want to narrow down my results a little bit. Let's say I want to know only who has passed this line right there. So while the system is searching, I will tell you that it is only search for people who crossed that line, and here we have the results. As you can see, the left bar represents all of my events, all of the events that took place today. If I'll zoom in a little bit, you will be able to see it right here. Now, okay, this is nice. Let's take, for example, this moment right here, which is pretty isolated. Let's wait for it and see that this line is being crossed. Perfect. So I know what you think. Okay, it's cool and everything, but it's still too much, right? Let's give it another let's put some more effort to this camera, to this system. As you saw, I pressed select face. Now let's select one face and wait for it. What did just happen here? As you can see, I have the left bar filled with options. I have the right bar very filtered out. Now what do you think? Did I got it or not? I press the first segment of color and I have the line, and guess who is coming? The exact face that I have chosen. He is coming today at 8748. He is a hard worker, and we can see the same person right again and right again. No mistakes. Basically, what did just happen here? Our cameras, right? DDI cameras, they know how to detect face. They have a built-in algorithm. Let me start from the beginning. We have the series eyesight series. Inside this eyesight series, and there is this all of the eyesight cameras have the DDA ability. So DDA stands for detect, distinguish, and alert. So all of the cameras know how to detect faces in a certain frame, just like we just saw. So the camera takes the face. It doesn't know who this face is, okay, but it sends it to the NVR, regardless to the person. So once the NVR got all of the snapshot, the NVR knows how to recognize. He knows how to take those faces and categorize that to different personas. So he knows that he is he and she is she and everyone is everyone else. So let's just have a quick look on how does that thing happens. So let's say that we will choose this person here. We just press the magnifier. And immediately we can see today. As you can see, we see today. We can see snapshots, okay, of this person that we have chosen from every camera that took him, whether it is the sales office or main passage. We can see the entire scene. If you want to know exactly what happened in that period of time, you know, if this specific person is very nice, but you know, some people aren't. So if you want to know exactly what happened during that time, we can see it from today, from yesterday, from the entire week if we want. It's not a problem. And of course, well, not of course, because this is something pretty amazed me when I first saw it. We can upload a map. There is a map of our organization back here in Israel, Kfar Saba. We can see all of the organization with the cameras scattered around this map, right? And one press over each camera will show us immediately the playback window of that person, whether it is now or later or later or later, and we can see it from other cameras as well. Okay, we can press it and we can see all of the records from today. Or if we chose the entire week, we'll see the entire week. Now, another special thing is that we can press this button, right? Followed window. Basically, this window of the playback it will jump in the map to the camera that recognize this specific person. Now let's see if we have a different example. This guy works really next to that camera, so let me just figure out a way how to show it to you. At 10:14, so following window. Sorry, it takes a little bit of time, just have to show it to you. 8:14. Now this is 8 o'clock. 10:14, I'm sorry. Oh, 10:14, right? And you saw that the camera jumped to this place. So another good example that we have is how to follow it on a map directly. So right now you can see this person has entered main passage, went straight into the sales desk. You can see the entire course of a person. Now it's nice when we see it on a small map like this, but just imagine the possibilities over a map that represents the entire campus. You can have, I don't know, 30 cameras all around the campus, recognizing face, and you can see the entire course of a person all around the campus. Now, not only campus, think big, think of a city. You can follow a guy into a whole city. Okay, this is a high-end feature that used to belong to, you know, TV shows, FBI, CIA, all of those things. So I'm playing it right now. It amazes me, even though I'm used to it already. So next thing I want to show you is how to, okay, we want to search for this guy, right? But I want to search for more guys, for more people. So all I have to do is to press here the modify, or you know what, starting from scratch, clear, okay? You just press this plus button and you can search for someone from our, let's say, someone that got captured today from the gallery. This is a floating gallery, by the way, for a lot of different people. We can search for as many as we like, and we can search for an entire group, which we'll explain in a second. So as you can see, I've chosen all of these people, and none of them appears here. You know why? Because none of them was here in the 20th that I searched. But let's search for today, and we have them. The 20th, I think it was Saturday, Friday, and no one was here. So okay. Now, what did you want to know now? 1 second. Now, a small explanation about groups. Now, groups, let me just jump really quick for the group page, where to set it up. Basically, it goes through here, the settings, events, analytics. Now, the database is group. Same word for group. Now, as you can see, we have this group Peacock, which contains a lot of people. And in order to add one into a group, we just press add face, we give it all of the information, and then we select the face that we want to associate with the name that we just gave. So another way to do that is from here. You can press plus, yeah, and you get into exactly the same window. Very easy, very quick. Now, why would we want different groups? If you want to divide between different groups of people, of course. So let's say that we have, I don't know, an employee, okay? We have an employee group and we have a manager group. So we will have this camera. Let's say this is the front door face, okay? Just for example, everything is for example. Front door face, and we give it a schedule that we want, and we associate it with the required group. So not allow list, let's imagine that it is the employee group, okay? So the employee group, once one of those employees would encounter that camera and the camera will detect him, we will just have here the enable alarm output pulse. So basically, the camera will send this output and it will trigger the door. The door will open. And why do we want that? We want the front door a camera which opens the door for the customer, for the employees and for the managers. We wanted to open the door. So I forgot to say, but of course that we will have also the managers group and the employee groups a part of this camera. Now, on the other hand, we don't want the employees to enter the manager's room, right? So we will have another camera, let's say it's this one, for example, and we will only associate this camera. Okay, this is a few cameras. We will only associate this camera, which is the manager camera, with only the manager group. So it will only open their door instead of all of the doors. That's it. Very simple, very quick example for why would we need different managers. So of course in laboratory we can only allow access to scientists, and the options are unlimited. We don't have every day to pass on all of the different options. Okay. Now, one last thing regarding to this option is face attendance. Why do we need face attendance? For a lot of good reasons. Now, we thought about why not use the fact that we already have this system that can recognize his face, right? It can recognize face, it can open a door into a certain face. So why not use it as an attendance clock? Now, of course, it's not meant to replace a classical attendance clock, but it can, first, and secondly, it can be a perfect secondary system, a backup system for the main system. So all we have to do, it is not for the face attendance, we don't have to set anything. All we have to do is to choose the camera that we want. Now, why won't just choose all the cameras? Because we want to know the first time and the last time a certain face got captured. So we choose also all of the groups. Let's say we want to know only when the employees came, or endless options. We choose the entire month, and we choose the working days. So we already set it up, Sunday till Thursday, 8 until 5, and then you just press search. And let me show you an example for a person. Let's say, okay, let's choose, I see here, Tzlil Dayan. It's written in Hebrew, okay? I recommend you to study it. It's very nice language. Okay, now we can see that Tzlil Dayan was here at the 1st of March, okay? It was checked in. You can see check in at 8:13. Now we have the picture, okay, to basically to prove it. But we don't have only the entrance picture, we have also the last time it was captured. So we have the first time, which is 9:39, and we have the last time, 2:42. We have all of the information for every day. As you can see, the picture changes according to the day. Now, if we want best results, of course, we would like to set the cameras in the proper way. So we will have the complete information. Now, what kind of attendance system it will be if we won't have the opportunity to export all of the information into an Excel file? So did you just saw that? I can press export, and I can take all of the information from this month, all of the required personnels here, and convert it into a CSV file that can be opened into Excel in a click of a button. This is a great surprise for the department that usually deals with those things. R&D, I think. No. Okay. Next thing I want to show you is, let me think for a second. Well, DDA. So same as with the face recognition option that we just saw, we have also the ability to determine whether the thing that we are watching is a human being, okay, or maybe it is a vehicle. So let's quickly see what we just saw here. Basically, we can choose human, okay, and of course I don't have to explain what it is, but when we search for human, we get all of the results for humans from all of the cameras that know how to detect. So of course we have humans here and here and here, and let's see where else. We can see it right there. We can see that we have a total of 3,297 results of humans. Of course, we can play back and forth with the options. We can see the scene, right? Like with the face recognition. And let me show you something very nice. One second. Okay. Now, this here is a person got captured in the back DDA. Now, just look how small the person is, but still, the camera, even though it is very small, the camera knows how to detect that it is a person that's walking. So in other words, we can install the camera basically everywhere, okay, but not too extreme, in an extreme distance, and it will be able still to identify whether it is a person or a car or whatever. Now let me show you how to identify a vehicle. You press the vehicle as we just saw, and we press the desired camera. Now as you can see, we have a lot of parking cars right here, but the system knows that those cars are parking, they're not moving, so that is why it won't record them. It won't send millions of snapshots of those cars because they are parking. So you can see that this camera is moving and this camera is moving, and let's see this camera, this is a car, not camera, car. This car is moving. Let's wait for the car. Yeah, bad example. Let's try this one. This one is actually pretty cool. As you can see, this is actually the office, but it captured a car reflecting from the windshield, from the window basically. Same goes here. But the sensitivity of the cameras is so great that it can even detect cars that are being reflected. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to search, not for a car, okay, car is very obvious, right? But let's check this camera, street counting, and I don't want a car, I want a two-wheel car or a vehicle. So one click on the search button, and immediately we can see this guy right here at 8:30. We can see this camera street counting at 8:30. We can see the person moving, and at 8:33, 3 minutes after that, we can see that the same guy, he ran out of battery, and he's coming back. This time he's pulling his bikes. So okay, let's see something else. Take a look at the top right corner, please. And as you can see a meter. Now the bike meter says 5. When that guy passes, it says 6. So yes, our cameras can count. We can count humans, cars, and bikes. It is very easy to set, and we can also count whether it was the entrance, okay? It determined by the from where to where this person has crossed the line, and we can count also the exit of the human, car, or bike. Now, let me see if I'm not forgetting anything. I didn't mention it because it's very obvious, but we can select, okay, the required pictures, and we can back it up like as we did before with the encryption and everything. Now, of course, we can combine. We want to take also both human and car and two-wheel vehicle, everything in the same spot. Press search, and it's very easy. So the next thing we're going to see is how to add an IPC. So all we have to do is to go to settings, go to camera, go to add camera, and we have here all of the cameras that the NVR detects on his local network. So all of these cameras are in my local network, and I can add them if I want. I can change their IP if I want, same as every other system. I hope for those other systems. And also I have add manually. So basically I can add a local system, a local a camera. Of course, I can add it even if it is a remote camera by applying the dynamic IP that these cameras have. I have also the opportunity to choose protocol, because since we have integrations with all of the other companies, so we can add a camera even if it is Hikvision or Dahua. We can pick this protocol, and we can have much more control over that camera instead of just using OnVIF, which we also have. Another good option and another good ability, and actually this one is special, is the ability to add a recorder. All of the recorder, or if you want to add only part of the recording channels, of this recorder channels. Now we can add a recorder locally or remotely, of course. We can add it even if it is an NVR or a DVR, an analog DVR. Now why is this good for? It is good for two good reasons. Reason number one, If we don't want a computer, if we want only a standalone security system, because one reason or two reasons, sometimes we don't want someone to play with the computer, and we only want him to look at to look at the cameras, or maybe also the PC might get broken. Or a different option why we would want to add a recorder is we want a backup. We have an NVR in our home and we want to get another NVR and to make it backup the main NVR, so we have a backup. And if something happens to the main NVR, it gets stolen or something, then we have another one just in case. Okay, now the next and final thing we are going to go through is how to set up a record. So let's go into recording, and we thought in Provision, okay, why to give this very hard work for the users and the installers of getting the schedule and start to deploy their settings into the schedule, and usually it's a lot of work. So we thought, let's simplify it. You remember in the beginning we said everything is supposed to be simple. So here we have all of the different preset recording options that we want. If we want to record by motion, by sensor, by a combination of the both, or by any combination that doesn't exist here, we can choose. We can choose and edit, and then we can record by it. Now, the number one problem in CCTV systems is that HDD, the disk, is filling too quickly. Now, the megapixel of the camera always changes, always rises, so nothing to do here around here. The HDD is filling up very quickly. So how do we control it? We have a lot more, but we have some main options to control it. This is one of them. We can choose the cameras that we don't, they're important but not very important. We don't need them to record for all of the time. So let's say we have a camera that captures our living room, and we know that we're going to be in that living room for at least 2-3 times a day. So we can choose that this camera, which captures our living room, to record only for 4 days or 7 days or until 180. Doesn't matter. We choose how long we want it. And we can do the same for many cameras that we don't need recording for a lot of time. So by doing that, we allow a lot of more extra space for the other important cameras. Now, the second option we have to maintain our disk is to control what will be the resolution when it records an event, which will be important. If something has happened in the NVR, then we want the best resolution possible. So this is the event recording stream. This is where we set it up. And when the NVR just recording, regular recording, when nothing happens, then we can choose to lower down the resolution to the minimum for all of the cameras at once. We can choose, we can control the frame per second until even 1 frame per second. We can choose the bitrate type, the bitrate quality, the bitrate stream, can take it down until 32 even. So this is another great way to control. Of course, that whenever something important happens, it will always record on the full resolution possible, which we already set. By the way, by default, this is what happens. It's always on the best resolution possible. I think we've done, and I really enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed it too. And I wish you all a good day, and thank you for being with us here in Provision ISR's webinar. Have a good day.